This is another part of the series of escalatory steps that we're seeing as part of the shadow war between Iran and its proxy network in the region and in the Arabian Gulf, and the United States and its Arabian Gulf allies. What's interesting to note here is that we have to wait to see what the U.S. military is going to say. So far, we don't have any solid confirmation from U.S. Central Command on what was shot down, if anything. Unnamed officials are suggesting that this may have been a high-altitude Navy drone, a surveillance drone operating in the Arabian Gulf region. Of course, the U.S. Navy has just dispatched a very powerful carrier strike group in the area to protect U.S. interest and U.S. allied interest. Of course, these attacks against international oil tankers have been ongoing since May 12th, and again, just last week. And this is happening at a time when another U.S. drone just 2 weeks ago was reportedly shot down in the Red Sea area by Iranian proxies, the Houthi militias in Yemen. Luckily, this was an unmanned drone, so this was not going to lead to any loss of life. That's important to note because reports have suggested that U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo sent a stern warning to the Iranians during his recent visit to Iraq, telling Tehran that if any Iranian or Iranian proxy attack in the Arabian Gulf or Middle East region takes place that leads to loss of U.S. life, that the U.S. will retaliate in kind. So luckily, this was it's not going to lead to any major escalation, but certainly part of the ongoing series of tension between Iran and the United States military in the region.
I want to ask you about a missile attack on a Saudi desalination plant. The missile reportedly coming from Yemen. What would be the significance of this desalination plant being hit, and why this specific plant?
It's really interesting. At this point, it's almost been a daily occurrence when we're seeing either an Iranian strike against U.S. interests or an Iranian proxy strike against Saudi Arabia, of course, which is nominally allied with the United States and its other Arabian Gulf allies. This is very important to note that this strike that's been reported by the Houthi forces in Yemen, which are nominally allied and aligned with the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, suggests that a critical infrastructure in southern Saudi Arabia was struck by a Houthi missile. This desalination plant is very important because Saudi Arabia is in the desert. 50% of Saudi Arabia's water resources come from such plants. This is around 120 kilometers from the Yemeni-Saudi border. So this shows that the Houthi militia with Iranian Revolutionary Guard help have been able to significantly increase their missile strike capability, and now they're hitting Saudi critical infrastructure nodes. It was just a week ago that they hit a Saudi civilian airport. So again, this is part of the series of escalatory steps by Iran and its allied regional proxies against Saudi Arabia and the United States in the region.